As football fans, we all have a dream. Playing professional football for one of the biggest clubs in the world and scoring massive goals for club and country. But this guy was destined to do all of these things and more. Destined to be one of the greatest players ever. What if by the age of 17, everyone was betting all their hopes on you? I mean, everyone. Even strangers you've never met, looking to you to lead them, looking to you to bring greatness back to your home nation. What if you gave everything you physically could, but somehow it still wasn't enough? Now, I'm sure all of you think you know the story of Neymar, Brazilian football prodigy turned global icon. But on the field, did he do enough to be remembered as one of the best of this generation? Or did Neymar waste his potential? For us to answer the question of wasted potential, we must start with what even led him to this stardom in the first place. Born in Sao Paulo, Neymar was born into footballing heritage as the son of his namesake Neymar Sr., who played locally in Brazil. Neymar, with his father's guidance, developed a love for the game, as he would play futsal and street football for hours. Seeing these environments gave him the technical platform that we fans so much adore about his game today. From his close control and dribbling to speed and sharpness, Neymar was a talented player from a very early age. At youth level, Neymar was already developing a cult following, massive enough to have fans and scouts, players and former players from all over the country come and watch him at only 10 years old. One of these scouts being Santos legend, Zito, who after seeing Neymar play told Santos they needed to sign this kid and keep him for a long time. Young Neymar was so convincing that the club set up trials and built a youth team from scratch just to be able to accommodate him. Neymar continued to make waves at just 12 years old, taking his school team to the Copa TV Tribuna final, a televised youth futsal tournament that gave kids the opportunity to showcase their talents and earn themselves recognition, a chance to sign for a big club. Even though Neymar lost the final 5-2, his performance in the final was one that left fans in awe. He never shied away from the spotlight, always wanting the ball, always wanting to impact the game, whether that be with his shooting, his outstanding dribbling for such a young player, or whether that be his stoic demeanor. At halftime of the same final, Neymar did an interview with a reporter, saying he was confident his team would come back to get the victory, impressing many with his maturity. He came back the next year to ultimately win the trophy, but by then, Neymar was already making global sound waves in world football. In 2006, 3 years before he even stepped foot onto the field for Santos' first team, he was on trial at Real Madrid as a 13-year-old child. The deal was so close to happening that he was even in the process of registering as a youth player for Los Blancos, along with touring the Santiago Bernabeu with his father. Santos managed to convince Neymar's father, however, that the homegrown development would be much better for his game and allow him to grow and develop. Over the coming years, he would play with kids in the age groups above him, outshining them, earning himself not only call-ups to Brazil's youth teams, but managing his first pro deal at the age of 17. He originally wasn't supposed to play for the first team, but after blowing the mind of the coach in training, he decided he was ready. And in his debut season, he scored 10 goals and 7 assists in 33 Serie A matches for Santos. The next season, Santos got even stronger. With Ganso, Wesley and Robinho on a 6-month loan from Manchester City, Neymar came back even stronger, with 14 goals and 5 assists in 19 Paulista games to help Santos win their 18th Paulista title, along with winning the Copa do Brasil, the first in the club's history. Neymar ended the season with 42 goals in 60 appearances, even scoring 5 goals in a game as he took top scorer award at just 18 years old. Neymar was now the hottest prospect in world football, with fans practically begging the starlet to be called up to the national team for the 2010 World Cup. Manager Dunga refused, robbing us of seeing Ronaldinho and Neymar in the same national team for that moment. Nonetheless, Neymar stormed back with another mind-boggling season as Santos aimed to win the Copa Libertadores. After 3 goals in the group stage, Santos faced Club America in the round of 16, where Neymar assisted the only goal of the tie as Santos advanced to the quarters where they'd face Once Caldas, scoring and assisting the only 2 goals for Santos as they narrowly got past the Colombian side. In the semis, Santos faced Paraguayan side Cerro Porteño, where he repeated the trick, assisting in the first leg and scoring the decisive goal in a 3-3 draw second leg, which saw Santos advance to the final. After a first leg that was finished 0-0, Santos went on to win the second leg 2-0, with Neymar leaving his mark again on the game, scoring in the final as Santos lifts the first Copa Libertadores title since 1963, winning player of the tournament. That same season, Neymar would get to go up against one of the most iconic players in Brazilian football history, Ronaldinho, the man who was tasked to become better than. With just 26 minutes gone, Santos led 2-0 as Neymar already managed an assist before pulling out one of the best solo goals of all time. After receiving it on the left wing, his first touch baits the defenders into overcommitting, leaving two of them for dead with one drag back skill move. After playing a 1-2, he holds off the oncoming defender before mesmerizing another on the edge of the box as he coolly slot home the finish. That goal won Neymar the Puskas Award, an award given to the best player, male or female, with the best goal of that calendar year, becoming the youngest player to win the award at the time. He also managed the first nomination for the Ballon d'Or at just 19 years old, finishing 10th, only the second player ever to be nominated for the award outside here. Before Neymar had even left Brazil, he was a star, helping Santos become the first team to play in 5 consecutive Paulista finals, along with helping his country to an Olympic Games final before beating the magnificent Spanish side in the 2010s in the 2013 Confederations Cup, where he again was the star of the show, winning Best Player award and scoring a left-foot laser past legendary Iker Casillas in the final. In the summer of 2013, Neymar finally made his big European move, joining Barcelona for 88 million euros, according to Transfermarkt, and he was presented in front of over 50,000 fans at the Nou Camp. He made his debut off the bench in a 7-0 thrashing of Levante, but he miraculously didn't manage a goal or an assist. This, however, wasn't going to be a problem, as the very next match in the Super Cup against Atletico Madrid, his header proved vital as the equalizer in the Vicente Calderon ultimately won Barcelona the cup on away goals rule. He managed 15 goals and 15 assists in his first season in Europe, with magical displays along the way. His hat-trick in the Champions League against Celtic, goal and assist in his first ever El Clasico, 2 more assists in a reverse fixture at the Bernabeu gave Blaugrana fans hope for another league title before Neymar picked up a foot injury at the back end of the season, where Barcelona failed to win their last 3 games, losing the title on the final day to eventual champions Atletico Madrid. While the crosstown war was Real Madrid managed to lift the Champions League title in the first ever Madrid derby in the Champions League final. The competition in Spain was now at an all-time high between the big 3. Barcelona needed to do something if they wanted to keep up, but before Barcelona could seek vengeance, Neymar had to compete for the World Cup in his home nation of Brazil. The football-mad nation expected nothing less than excellence, but they knew their side had a few faults, along with no other main options really to go alongside their star man in attack. However, Neymar gave his all, scoring a brace in the opening fixture versus Croatia, then scoring another brace in the final group game against Cameroon, sending the South Americans through top of the group. After a tough round of 16 match against Chile, which saw the Brazilians squeak through on penalties, they came up against a tough Colombian side, led by young starlet James Rodriguez, who produced a magical tournament, scoring one of the best goals in World Cup history versus Uruguay, which won the Puskas Award later that year. The Brazilians managed to beat them 2-1 with goals from both David Luiz and Thiago Silva, which was assisted by Neymar, before the knee to the back caused him to fracture his vertebrae, leaving him consequently to miss the rest of the tournament. The rest, well, is footballing history, as Brazil were humiliated 7-0 in the semi-finals by eventual champions, Germany. That summer, at Barcelona, the club let Pinto and Victor Valdez leave with their expiring contracts, swiftly replacing them with young Marc-Andre ter Stegen from Borussia Mönchengladbach and Claudio Bravo from Real Sociedad. This summer also saw the retirement of club legend Carlos Puyol, who was a significant leader in the locker room for the Blaugrana. After the sale of Cesc Fabregas and Alexis Sanchez to Chelsea and Arsenal respectively, it opened up the pathway to start the beginning of the most legendary football trio in history, MSN. In July of 2014, Suarez signed to Barcelona for a reported £74 million, a hefty fee considering Suarez was serving a ban for his 3rd biting offence, this time on Italian legend Giorgio Chiellini. After missing the first league game of the season with an ankle injury, Neymar fired back with a 10-goal contribution in 8 league game run, including a hat-trick against Granada and a 6-0 thrashing at the Camp Nou. Neymar continued his strong start to the campaign, scoring 3 goals in 5 Champions League group stage matches as Barcelona finished top of the group ahead of PSG, who coincidentally gave Barcelona their only loss of the group stage. His impressive run of form continued into the turn of 2015, seeing him manage 5 goal contributions in his first 3 Copa del Rey fixtures, also going on a stretch in the league where he managed 9 goal contributions in 6 matches. Barcelona looked primed and ready to win the treble as the formidable MSN had now kicked into gear, with Suarez hitting the ground running coming back from a suspension. After a tough round of 16 tie versus Manchester City, Barcelona faced the Parisians again in the quarterfinals. Neymar's opening goal of the tie gave Barcelona the lead before a Suarez brace gave them the advantage to take back to the Nou Camp. Neymar again opened the scoring for the Blaugrana in the reverse fixture. He received Iniesta's beautiful through ball, rounded the keeper before tucking away the calm finish. Then only minutes later, headed home another one as Barcelona pulled away from the French side, giving him his 5th goal that season versus PSG, scoring in every fixture against the club, making it his 6th goal in 9 UCL matches, as Barcelona reached the semi-finals for the 7th time in 8 seasons. Here, they would face arch-nemesis Bayern Munich, now managed by club icon Pep Guardiola, known for winning the last treble with Barcelona in 2009. Now, he represented the club who historically got the best over them in the 2013 semi-final, 7-0 on aggregate. After Barcelona knocked on the door with efforts from Suarez and Neymar not enough, Messi brought the deadlock with 13 minutes from time, before 3 minutes later putting Jerome Boateng on his back before audaciously chipping the best goalkeeper in the world at the time, Manuel Neuer. Even with Messi taking the headlines for his goals, he slipped through the Brazilian late on as Neymar continued his rich vein of form, scoring in the Champions League after calmly starting home the finish as Barcelona ran out 3-0 winners at the Camp Nou. Pep and Bayern, however, wouldn't go easy, as Benati's bullet header gave them the lead at the Allianz Arena. But after Messi's visionary through ball slipped Suarez through, he easily rolled the ball to Neymar for the easiest finish of his life, but an important one, as Barcelona were now level on the night and they restored their 3-goal advantage. However, just 9 minutes later, the Brazilian would again get on the end of another Suarez pass before he calmly takes the ball on his chest before belting a low finish past Neuer at his near post. Even though Bayern pulled 2 more late goals back, the damage was already done. Barcelona have reached another Champions League final, their 4th in the last 10 seasons up to that point. After clinching the league title against Atletico in the Vicente Calderon and beating Bilbao in the Copa del Rey final with goals from Messi and Neymar, Barcelona went up against a Juventus side who beat Dortmund, a young good Monaco side, and reigning champions Real Madrid on their way to the final. The final opened in perfect fashion for the Spanish side, with Neymar slipping through Iniesta before he laid off the ball to Rakitic, who emphatically dispatched the finish 4 minutes into the game. Despite Barcelona's constant onslaught on the Italian goal, Alvaro Morata got on the end of a fumbled save by ter Stegen to make matters level. However, only minutes later, Lady Luck wouldn't be on the old lady's side, as Buffon produced almost a carbon copy mistake of the same error that brought his side level. After he failed to hold on to Lionel Messi's shot, which saw Luis Suarez there to tap home the finish, restoring the Blaugrana advantage once more. With only seconds left before glory, Pedro slipped through Neymar to seal the victory for the Spanish side. 3-1 victories. Neymar not only a Champions League winner, but a treble winner in only his 2nd campaign in Europe. He finished with 10 Champions League goals, tying with the most that season with who else than Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. To add on to that, he managed to finish as the Copa del Rey's top scorer with 7 goals, ending the season with 39 goals and 10 assists in 51 games. That's 49 goal contributions in 51 games, helping Barcelona win their 2nd ever treble and restoring glory to the Spanish Giants. He also won an appearance in the UCL Team of the Season for that year, UEFA Team of the Season, La Liga's World Player of the Year, given to the best foreign player, La Liga's Team of the Year, and also finished 3rd in Ballon d'Or voting behind who else but Messi and Ronaldo. Neymar continued his brilliance the following season, finishing with 31 goals and 25 assists in only 49 games as Barcelona won the League Cup double along with the Super Cup and Club World Cup, being the top assist man in the competition for the Club World Cup with 2, along with being La Liga's top assist man with 16 that season. Unfortunately, Barcelona were unable to recapture the UCL title as they crashed out to Atletico Madrid in the quarterfinals, who lost the final eventually to Real Madrid. 2016-17 season started with Neymar agreeing a new 5-year deal with Barcelona before going to the Olympics with Brazil as the host nation, again giving him another opportunity to win glory for Brazil. The star man led by example, with a captain's performance scoring 4 goals in the tournament before scoring the game-winning penalty in the shootout to lift the cup for the Seleção. His return saw Barcelona lose to Alaves 2-1, even though he grabbed an assist. He would bounce back though with another classic Neymar performance with a goal and 4 assists in a 7-0 thrashing of Celtic in their first UCL group game. He continued his impressive UCL run, adding another 4 goals in the next 4 UCL matches as Barcelona would draw against PSG in the round of 16. In a tie most thought Barcelona would breeze through, the French side sunk Barcelona 4-0 in the Parc des Princes, with Di Maria's impressive performance stunning world football. Barcelona's UCL hopes looked to be in all but tatters headed back to the Camp Nou. Going into the second leg, with nothing but faith, Luis Suarez's instinctive reactions to a bouncing ball in the box gave Barcelona belief early on. Barcelona fought tirelessly at one point, thinking they should have had a penalty as Neymar went down claiming to be held in the box by Thomas Meunier. But right before halftime, the comeback looked possible as Cazorla returned the ball into his own net after persistent pressure by Andres Iniesta.
Remarkable goal, and now Barcelona really do believe.
50 minutes on the clock now, Neymar was slipped through by an impeccable ball from Iniesta, only to be officially brought down this time by Thomas Meunier. Messi then slammed home the penalty, and suddenly Barcelona just needed 2 more goals with 40 minutes left. With PSG now seemingly on the ropes, Edinson Cavani powered home a volley to all but crush Barcelona hearts. The score now 3-1 on the night, but 5-3 on aggregate. Barcelona need to score 3. Time began winding down, and as the minutes ticked off the clock, Barcelona fans around the world sat looking down the barrel of defeat again, surely now set to compound a disappointing season. However, these next few minutes are footballing folklore. Neymar was brought down just outside of the box. The Brazilian then stepped up to the subsequent free kick from 20-odd yards out and curled a sumptuous effort into the top corner, leaving Kevin Trapp no chance in the PSG goal. 88th minute, 4-5 on aggregate. In the 90th minute, Messi played a clip ball into Suarez, who was brought down by Marquinhos, a penalty call some still debate to this day. Some use Suarez's personal history of a diver against him. Others claim UEFA bias by referees. Others say it was an obvious error on the defender's part. But the only thing that mattered now was Neymar had the chance to level the tie with only minutes left.
And scores 5-1. That means the scores are level on aggregate, but Paris Saint-Germain would go through on the away goal.
The Brazilian, with the weight of Catalonia on his shoulders, sent Kevin Trapp the wrong way. Score now 5-1 on the night, but 5-5 on aggregate. Football fans now around the world couldn't believe their eyes. No time in the history of the Champions League has a team come back to win after losing the first leg by 4 goals or more. No team ever. Barcelona now had the football world gripped and glued to the television set. As they pushed tirelessly for the winner, time grew thin. However, with literally seconds left,
Chips it forward and Sergio Aguero! Can you believe this?
Neymar receives the ball from the right wing and cuts inside on his left foot. He clips a beautifully weighted ball over the Paris backline, and it falls graciously to the boot of Sergio Roberto, who beat Kevin Trapp again. 95th minute, 6-1, 6-5 on aggregate. Barcelona created footballing history in probably the most iconic game of all time, and definitely the greatest comeback ever. Led by who else but Neymar. 2 goals and an assist in 7 minutes to become cemented in Barcelona's history. Probably his greatest performance The rest of the season, however, didn't go that well for Barcelona as they finished second in the league behind Real Madrid and were knocked out again in the quarterfinals, this time by Juventus, getting revenge for the 2015 final loss. They managed to, however, win the Copa del Rey, now their third straight title, as he ended the 2016-17 season with 20 goals and 26 assists in only 45 matches, including a hat-trick at the back end of the season against Las Palmas. The summer of 2017, Neymar got into a training ground bust-up with new signing Nelson Semedo while on preseason tour in Miami. This only compounded the heavy rumors of the Brazilian's departure. At the time, PSG, the club Neymar was notorious for having special nights against, were willing to activate his €222 million release clause. But why would Neymar want to leave anyway? It's all set up for him at Barcelona. Or was it? Many said if Neymar wanted to achieve his goal of a Ballon d'Or, he would have to get over Messi's quote-unquote shadow. Narratives begin to spread in the media, even after his star performance in the Champions League. Neymar states another reason for his departure from Barcelona. According to an article by Bleacher Report, Neymar stated, quote, "The biggest challenge, what most motivated me to join my new teammates is to help PSG conquer the titles that the fans want. I played 4 seasons in Europe and I feel ready to take the challenge." In August of 2017, Neymar officially joined Le Parisien for a world record €222 million transfer fee, a record that still stands to this very day. Not only did PSG splash the cash on Neymar, this summer they also loaned in Kylian Mbappe with an option to make the move permanent for €166 million the next summer. The 18-year-old had only recently burst onto the scene for Monaco, but was one of the most sought-after talents in Europe after he helped them win the French League and took them all the way to the Champions League semi-final. Life in Paris started well for the Brazilian. 6 goal contributions in his first 2 games saw the starlet dazzle, but most fans and players weren't happy with his showboating antics. He would receive countless tackles in matches, spending time after time on the floor. In the Winter League Cup match versus Amiens, Neymar celebrated a goal by balancing a boot on his head. Neymar attributed this celebration to his birthday message for a friend, known for doing a party trick of balancing drinks on his head. But regardless, the narrative began to swirl around Neymar, being all about the show. In 2018, PSG were drawn against Real Madrid in the Champions League round of 16. This was against a prime Real Madrid side. The last season of Cristiano Ronaldo, managed by Zinedine Zidane, with that legendary midfield of Modric, Kroos and Casemiro, with that mighty defense, PSG were in for a dogfight, but confident when they went in with their star. After a crushing 3-1 defeat in the Santiago Bernabeu, Neymar was out for the second leg due to an ankle injury. Initially, most thought he would be able to make a return, but further inspection saw Neymar not only fracture his metatarsal, but also tore the ligament in his ankle, an injury that made him a serious doubt for the upcoming World Cup. At this point, it's no doubt the constant tackles on Neymar were taking its toll. Neymar ended the 2016-17 season as the most fouled player in Europe, and despite not even playing a game since February 2018, he ended that season again as one of the top 5 most fouled players in Europe, ending the club season with an impressive 28 goals and 16 assists in only 30 games. That was a goal contribution every 61 minutes. For perspective, that was a better goal contribution rate than Lionel Messi averaged that year for Barcelona. His performances helped PSG sweep France, winning every domestic trophy available. Even with doubts over his health, Neymar managed to recover in time for the 2018 World Cup, and even though he managed 2 goals and 2 assists in 5 matches, going out to Belgium in the quarterfinals was a massive disappointment for Santos fans, who would have massive hopes of a title in Russia after Brazil managed to field a very competitive squad on paper. With new goalkeeper duo Ederson and Alisson now fighting for a place between the sticks, a defense led by the old guards Thiago Silva and Marquinhos, and a midfield enforced by Casemiro off the back of 3 consecutive Champions League titles, along with Fernandinho and Felipe Coutinho, who recently moved to Barcelona for a staggering £142 million as they look to replace the hole left by Neymar. But sadly, it wasn't their year. again. His troubles would be only compounded as media speculation swirled in France of Mbappe taking the lead at PSG, as the Frenchman had not only become a key figure for PSG in the 2017-18 season with Neymar's absence, but the youngster went on to win the World Cup with France in the summer, scoring a goal in the final, making him the only teenager to do so since Pelé. However, Neymar buckled down and insisted he would put the wrongs from the last season right. Neymar would start by hitting stunning league form, producing a goal contribution in literally every league game he played up until January, with 13 goals and 7 assists in 13 matches, while adding another 5 goals and 2 assists in the Champions League run as PSG went through top of the group ahead of eventual champions Liverpool. However, another ankle injury at the turn of 2019 sidelined Neymar for another round of 16 tie, this time against Manchester United, who came back from 2-0 down on aggregate to shockingly beat the prodigy at home. Even though PSG won the league title, they failed to pick up any more significant trophies, even though Neymar would try to work his way back. Another relapse in his ankle injury caused him to miss the 2019 Copa America, which ironically, Brazil went on to win without their star man. The 2019-20 season for Neymar was another stressful one. After recovering from his ankle injury, he continued to miss games, missing 8 games to a hamstring injury, along with a bruised rib sidelining him for another 4 matches. However, with the arrival of the global pandemic, league play around the world was suspended, but the UEFA Champions League returned in August of 2020, with the remaining matches from the quarterfinals onward to be played as one-legged ties in a bubble setup in Portugal behind closed doors. This would be the chance Neymar needed to recover and make his way back stronger than ever. PSG were drawn against Atalanta for the quarterfinal, a side who finished 3rd in Serie A that season. Neymar tried tirelessly, missing clear-cut chances early on in the first half. And after Pasalic gave Atalanta the lead, Neymar continued his onslaught. However, his shooting boots clearly went missing on the night as PSG went in 1-0 down at the break. In the dying embers of the match, Neymar took down Choupo-Moting's cross before finding Marquinhos to draw the French side level. And only 3 minutes later, Neymar's slide rule pass played in Mbappe as he rolled the ball across to Choupo-Moting, who turned in the finish as PSG went through to the semis where they would play Leipzig. PSG then cruised past Leipzig 3-0, where Neymar contributed another assist, and now PSG were just 1 win away from the first ever Champions League. Or no, inches away from his goal with Paris. Would this be the crowning moment he needed to win a Ballon d'Or? Opponent, 2020 Bayern Munich, a side who, if you remember, went undefeated through the whole tournament up to the final, even beating Barcelona 8-2. This Bayern Munich side was also 1 game away from history themselves. They are just 1 game away from winning their legendary treble, led by Lewandowski's 55-goal season, putting him well in contention for a Ballon d'Or, just like Neymar. The final started off well, as Neymar went close before being stopped by a good low save from Neuer. Lewandowski went close twice, but then the best chance fell to Kylian Mbappe. After Bayern gave away the ball cheaply on the edge of their own box, the Frenchman slipped in Ander Herrera, who played a wonderful cutback to Mbappe, who struck it tamely to the German stopper. The score at halftime, 0-0. 14 minutes into the second half, Kingsley Coman got on the end of a clip ball to the back post by Joshua Kimmich. His header gave Bayern an all-important goal, which ultimately sunk Neymar and PSG's hopes. Heartbreak for Neymar in another tournament. So close to achieving his goal, but ultimately so far. He ended the season with 19 goals and 12 assists in only 27 matches, a goal contribution every 71 minutes. Still massively impressive as PSG went on to win every trophy available to them again, other than the Champions League. The following years at PSG would be filled with more media narratives, this time about falling out with Kylian Mbappe. Along with many calling his transfer to PSG a flop, Neymar left PSG in the summer of 2023, leaving the club with 118 goals, 77 assists in only 173 matches, winning 5 league titles, 3 French Cups, 2 French League Cups, and 4 French Super Cups, leaving as PSG's 4th top scorer of all time in only 6 seasons. So the question everyone is asking, did Neymar live up to his potential? Some argue the fact that he didn't win a major trophy with Brazil. However, shouldn't the fact that he's currently tied as Brazil's all-time leading scorer along with the legendary Pelé not count for something? Winning the first Olympic gold for the nation in football, beating that Spanish side in 2013, shouldn't that count for something? Others argue that no Champions League since going to PSG being the main reason they signed him back in 2017, and I agree. But most times his constant injuries held him back from really getting to showcase his talent, along with being consistently one of the most fouled players in Europe. However, he did even manage to win one Champions League, which is more than other players could ever do in their career. Neymar is one of the most polarizing players in the modern era, getting criticized for his on and off the field antics. Whether you love him or hate him though, you can't deny that he's one of the most impressive players in this era. His magical dribbling and outstanding innovative touches and jaw-dropping solo runs captured football-crazy teens around the world for years. Whether it was a wonder kid, setting Brazil's top division on fire, making history as the second player outside of Europe to even be nominated for a Ballon d'Or award at just 19 years old, to winning the Copa Libertadores, to becoming a key figure in football's most effective front trio ever, to winning a Champions League title, to breaking the world transfer record fee, Neymar has done so much in his career. To many, he is an icon and a true maverick of who wasn't afraid to go against the grain. And if it wasn't for Messi and Ronaldo's alien-like numbers, he would surely have a Ballon d'Or to his name. Neymar, a true icon of the game, and officially a player the streets will never forget.